What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith at GSD Mode Studios, and today I am here to talk to you about how to stay in action. The two most important daily things to do, the two most important daily actions and habits that are going to allow you to stay laser focused and to grow and expand and continue leveling up inside your life, inside your real estate business. And look, these are just things that I have learned from my coaches, from my mentors, from taking action personally, reflecting on what works, what doesn't work, and my journey in my 14 plus year-long real estate career, ups and downs, right, that have allowed me now to become one of the top real estate agents and team leaders on the planet. So let me walk you through these, but before I get into the actual two actions here, I want to walk you through some important things to understand, right? Because we got to know the rhyme to the reason, man. Like what compounds these things? You know, how do you all of a sudden do you wake up certain days where you're like on fire? I mean, there's days you wake up and you're like, oh shit, I'm motivated, man. I want to go out there and crush it. And then you have days where you wake up and you're like, dude, I don't feel like doing a damn thing today. Yeah, right? Or you hit that wall in the afternoon, or why are some days you're on fire? Why are some days you're not? Like we gotta dissect peel back the layers on the onion and break this down. All right, so we want to stay motivated, stay inspired, and stay in action without burnout. That is the goal, right? Because in order for you to create a successful real estate business and have success in every aspect of your life, whether it's your relationships, your health, your marriage, it doesn't matter what it is, the path to success is the same for all areas, right? So I want to share a story about Mario Andretti. He was interviewed by my mentor, Darren Hardy, when Darren owned and was the publisher of Success Magazine. And so Mario Andretti is like one of the greatest NASCAR drivers to ever live. Now, I don't follow NASCAR. I'm not a huge sports fan, but this is a pretty badass interview and a badass article. So Darren asks him, he's talking about interviewing about his career and all that great stuff, right? But then at the end, he's like, look, our listener base are entrepreneurs and executives, people that are trying to level up in their business. What's the number one piece of advice? As we end this interview, what's the number one piece of advice that you would give to entrepreneurs trying to create success that's allowed you to create massive success inside your NASCAR racing in this career, right? And he said, at that point, he said, what you focus on is where you end up in life, right? So you got to control what you focus on because your life depends on it, right? Control what you focus on as if your life depends on it, because it 100% does. So then Darren asked him to elaborate on that, right? So he's like, look, I learned early on in my race car career, as I'm doing, my left turns the whole entire race, right? Not to focus on the wall. Because if I was coming up on that turn at however, hundreds of miles an hour they go, so if I was focusing on the wall at that turn, bam, I would hit the wall. So he had to pick the very specific lines and make sure that he focused only on those lines and not focusing on the wall, right? So we've got to control our focus, and we got to do this. A lot of people think it's like a skill set that some people just have or don't have, or it's like an innate thing. No, man, it's just having daily intention with it. And more importantly than focusing on willpower or discipline, if you watched, is either my last leveling up episode or maybe two ago. We'll link it below here so you can watch that one, which talks about never having to rely on willpower, discipline, how that's just a myth. Right? Uber successful people, super achievers, don't rely on willpower or discipline and don't typically have any more than the rest of us have. Right? We want to create systems, daily systems in a daily environment that allows us to succeed where we don't have to rely on willpower and discipline. Because even if you have more of it than somebody else, or if I maybe have more than somebody else, at the end of the day, we all have limited amounts of it and we all have weak moments. So we don't want to rely on it, right? So some important things to understand after that story, right? So what you get in life, what you create. So if you want to create a successful business, or you want to have success, you got to create that successful business. Right? Like you get in life what you create. But then from there, and I think that we all get that, understand that, right? But then you create what you expect. So you have to raise the expectations that you have for yourself personally. Like, what are your expectations? Do you expect greatness for yourself, right? Like, are you okay with mediocrity? I'm guessing that you're not watching a series called Leveling Up here on the podcast. if you are okay with being average and being mediocre. Right? So you have a high, you raise the bar. We constantly want to be raising the bar for our expectations with ourselves, right? And this is why I love hanging out with extremely successful people that are massively more successful than I am, right? Because I get to learn from them. I'm inspired by them. And dude, I'm telling you this, it's not that I'm not impressed or they're not amazing people, right? But a lot of times, the biggest takeaway sometimes I have is the increase in the self-belief and the self-expectation I set for myself. Because then you realize, look, dude, they're nothing special. Right? They are just people that are extremely committed and extremely focused. And if I raise my expectation for myself, raise my commitment level, work my ass off, and stay extremely focused, I can probably create that same success too. Right? We're all wired. We're all human beings. We're all made out of the same elements. We all have the same for 24 hours in a day. It's like we all have the same playing field. We're all on the same playing field. Right? So you got to raise that expectation bar for yourself and just understand that anything's possible and you can create what you want to create, right? So you create what your expectations are for yourself. Then from there, your expectations for yourself are driven by your thoughts, right? So you got to be very careful on the thoughts that are entering your mind. And I get it. There's over 60,000 thoughts entering our mind every single day. We can't always control those thoughts, right? But we can control how we react to them. But we can influence our thoughts very heavily by the people we surround ourselves with, the books that we read, the things that we do, right? So then your thoughts are driven by your input, right? Your environment that you hang around. One of the reasons that I love the brokerage that I'm with here in Arizona is like every top agent in the state of Arizona is with that brokerage. Right? We sell a lot of units, a lot of homes, right? We were ranked last year 42 in the nation. I'm number 3 in my brokerage as far as team leaders. Right? I got a long way to go. The number 1 team inside my brokerage will do close to $1 billion in gross volume sales this year. Right? Insane stuff. That's gonna be like 6 times the amount of business that I do. Right? I love being in an environment because I'm inputting those experiences from being around them, right? But also with input, there's other things. We'll get into that here in a moment. All right, so then your input is then driven by your focus, right? So what are your eyeballs listening to or watching? What are your ears listening to? What's your environment? We got to make sure that we are focusing on the right things. And focus is so insanely powerful. It's like if I take a piece of paper and go out in Phoenix, Arizona, it's sunny and hot, right? So maybe it's in the summertime, it's 110 degrees outside, and I take that piece of paper and put it on the asphalt. Nothing's gonna happen. But if I get a magnifying glass, right, and then increase the intensity, right, that son of a bitch is gonna burst into flames and blow up or get on fire, and right? That's what I want. I want my life to be on fire. Right? The only way my life's going to be on fire is if I create the magnifying glass for my life, right? Just like the piece of paper, right? So I want to be that laser focused, like the magnifying glass, right? So we got to eliminate the distractions, eliminate the noise, and make sure our focus is in the right places. So what you input is what you output. And this makes sense, right? Like, okay, hey man, if you're driving a badass car, it might need premium gasoline or whatever it may be. If you put some fucking shitty sludge in there, it's not gonna go good. If you want a massive amounts of energy, right? Like when I speak publicly, because sometimes like I do these twice a year, I do in-person mastermind events here in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'd be on stage sometimes for 10 hours, just going, just nonstop. And people are like, dude, I'd give anything to have your energy. How do you have that much energy? Right? Well, it's all extremely intentional, right? I make sure to input the right things, right? I'm drinking about 1.5 gallons of water a day. I'm inputting specific supplements. I'm eating the right foods, right? That allow me to have that energy. Because I know if I go have McDonald's, and input shit into my body, I'm gonna get a shit output. Now, if I go eat McDonald's like everybody else, I'm fucking tired, I need a nap. Right? You go stuff your face at Thanksgiving dinner, right, with all that junk, like you're in a coma now. Right? So what you input is what you eventually then output. So this brings us to, once we understand that, this is gonna bring us to the 2 things. So these are the 2 things every single day. And the whiteboard, I know you probably can't read this. I've got bad chicken scratch. This is more for me to stay on point with you guys, right? So 2 things to control your input. Number 1, protect it, right? So you got to cut out the BS, right? And this is where you got to take the time and getting clarity on what you want in life. You got to get very clear on this, right? Like what is it that you want? Just blink of an eye, or let's just say you're 85 years old or 90 years old, you're on your deathbed. What are the things that you regret not doing? right? Like what is the perfect life? What is the perfect day? And just start there. Like because it's kind of hard to fast forward and think so far in the future. Just think about this. Like what would the perfect day be right now? What time would you wake up? What's the first thing that you do? What's the second thing that you do? What's the third? Like what would be the perfect day? You know, in every aspect of your life. What would be the perfect day in your business, perfect day in at home with your family, right? What would the perfect scenario be? And then design, then be intentional about building that, creating that. Yeah, right? Like for me, when I went through that exercise, I realized, holy shit, man, a perfect day would be where I have full freedom of my schedule and location. Yeah, right? Like I like to work, but I want to be able to work wherever I want to work. If I want to work in Hawaii or wherever I want to go, I want to have full freedom of location. And I also want to be able to do the things that I need to get done when I want to do them. Well, I don't want to have to, this has got to be done at 8 a.m. Or I got to meet this client at 9 p.m., whatever time I got to meet them. No, I want to be able to do the tasks that I want to do when I want to do them, that need to get done, right? So I realized at that point, man, I built my real estate business completely wrong. Yeah, right? So I had to rebuild it to eventually give me the life and allow me to live the life that I knew I truly wanted, which I'm now living and have been for the last 5 years. Yeah, right? So once we get clarity on that, what we truly want, right? Then you cut out all the other bullshit, right? Like anything that is not getting you one step closer, not having a positive impact on that thing, just eliminate. It's just noise. It doesn't matter. Eliminate the gossip. Yeah, right? Like you'll hear me on these episodes a lot of times, dogging on sports. It's not that I have a beef with sports, right? Like I think sports are great, man. I enjoyed playing sports as a kid. My kids play sports. I enjoy watching their games, right? But I'm not going to be a spectator. Me sitting down for 3 hours on a Sunday, plopping my ass on the couch watching a bunch of other people living out their dreams, that is not going to have any positive impact on my goals and the life I want to create. Yeah, right? That's just entertainment. So I'm going to cut out the bullshit. Not saying to not entertain. I don't have a problem with entertainment, but it becomes a problem when your entertainment far exceeds your education, and also when your business isn't right. Right? If you have an unhealthy business, if your bank account's unhealthy, if finances aren't right, your business isn't right, shit's going bad in your life, you have no sense in spending any time in entertainment. It's how you got there in the first place. That's why your life's shitty in the first place, is because you're fucking paying attention to everybody else and not paying attention to yourself and your own business. Right? You got to stay in action with that. So protect it. Just cut out all the BS. Like watching the news is never going to help you grow your real estate business. I can promise you that. Yeah, right? So I know the things that are most important to me. It's like my health, my business, my relationship with my wife, relationship with my kids. And I've got, the other important relationships to me with, specific friends that I have out there. But I'm very clear on who those people are and what those things are. So I know anything that isn't improving or impacting those things is just noise. And I just need to cut it out and eliminate it, from that. All right, so number one, protect it. So you got to cut it out, cut the cord. Number two, feed it. Now that you have clarity, you're very clear on the type of business that you want to create. Yeah, right? The health that you want to create. I talked about energy management earlier. That's my number one outcome when it comes to my health and fitness goals, right? So I'm reading a lot of articles and taking courses, whatever I can to educate myself to increase my energy. That way it allows me to go out there and get all my work done and then go out there and have great times with my wife and my kids and have the energy to do all the shit I want to do in life. Yeah, right? I'm going to be educating myself on how to be a better father, right? Educate myself on how to being a better husband. Same thing with my business, right? So I'm going to feed it only the things that matter. I'm cutting out the bullshit. Essentialism is a great book by Greg, I don't know if it's McCowan or McEwen, but Greg McEwen, let's just say pretend that's pronounced right. He's got a great book called Essentialism, right? And he really breaks down, walks you through how to identify, because he talks about 95% of everything out there is just fucking noise, right? 5% are going to actually impact what you want. So you got to cut out that 95% so you can be laser focused, be that magnifying glass now on that 5%, right? So now we want to feed it. So each and every day when you wake up, right, just write these things down. 2 things to control your input. Number 1, protect it. So everything that you're doing, ask yourself, man, is this getting me one step closer to my goals? Yes or no? And if no, cut it out, right? And then feed it. Okay, what can I feed myself to get one step closer to the goal that I want to create? Yeah, right? You got to get very, very clear on this stuff. And especially, when it comes to, because things can kind of blindside us. It's like George Foreman says, he's like the punch that knocks you out is the one that you didn't see coming. So a lot of times we're thinking, oh, we're reading these books. I'm reading these nonfiction books, and it's feed my mind the right stuff. It's education. Look, most people with education, that becomes entertainment as well, because the things that they're educating themselves aren't having and adding value to the results that they need to get the next step in their business. Yeah, right? So you got to get very clear on that. Like, for example, I committed to learning how to write code, right? I own a software company. It's just something that I've been wanting to do forever. I've got software developers that work for the company, but I don't know how to write code, right? Well, I got to identify, okay, like what code? I mean, we look at all the different coding languages. There's infinite amounts, man. There's so freaking many, and there's more and more and more that just keep getting added and added and added. Yeah, right? That's like, okay, well, I want to learn language. Well, do I learn English? Do I learn Japanese? Do I learn Chinese? Do I learn Spanish? Do I learn, French, like German? What language do I learn? Well, if we live here in the United States, it might make sense to learn English and focus on learning English, right? With that. So you want to get really laser focused on even your education to make sure that is feeding you to getting one step closer to your goal. So again, you can be the magnifying glass. Just remember that analogy. You want it. So my focus, that magnifying glass. So asking yourself every day, all throughout the day, is this aligned with my goals, right? And if not, number one, because you got to protect your focus, cut it out. Then number two, feed it the right things, right? So that is how you stay in action, stay motivated, stay inspired each and every day without getting burnt out. It's not a gift. It's not somebody's just wired. Oh, they're just wired to be an inspirational person. They're just wired differently than me. No, dude, we all hate the same shit. We all get bored. We all get unmotivated. Demotivated. It's an intentional system that you need to follow to be able to stay in action and not allow yourself to get burnt out. So anyway, hope you found this content information helpful. All right, so make sure though, before you leave, make sure to go check out gsdmode.com where you can see more great episodes like this, plus our top real estate professional and entrepreneur podcast interviews, as well as I have a lot of free resources, tools, tips, trainings on there to help you grow your business. So make sure to check out gsdmode.com. Make sure to join the private Facebook group for the GSD Mode podcast, which is actually called the GSD Mode Real Estate Agent Mastermind. It's a closed group. There's no sales happening in there. I have a very strict no promotion policy. It's just a safe place to mastermind. You can ask me questions in there, collaborate, learn from others. I got a lot of other free trainings inside that group for you, all to help you grow your business. Then also, last thing, please make sure to like wherever you watch this. You might be on Facebook, you might be on YouTube, wherever you're at, make sure to like this and comment. I'd love to get your feedback on this, if this was helpful, or if there's other things going on in your life, right, that you would like me to create some content on or around that could be of value to you to help you level up in your business and in your life. Love to get your feedback. I want to give you what you want to help you grow your business. And make sure to share this. If you know anybody, like if you found this really powerful, there's other people in your life, I promise you, that could benefit from this. So make sure to share this as well and help us grow this channel and continue impacting other lives. Truly appreciate you guys watching. Keep up the amazing work. Keep kicking ass. Go dominate, and I'll see you next time. Peace.